Right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Free Lady. I'm your host, Brittany McQuethy, where we are always trying to free your mind and have you break free from anything that's stopping you from believing in yourself, loving in yourself, and accomplishing everything that you want in your life. I'm super excited to have Vic here. He's amazing. I met him at a Lion's Den fly-in just this past October. He has amazing things that he talks about on Instagram. Like, he's just such an influencer to change your life. It's really amazing. And so I met him just by him talking to another person at the fly-in, and I was like, oh shit, this guy knows what's up. I'm very excited for you guys to listen to what he has to say. So of course we are going to open with 3 things that we're grateful for. I am very grateful for, I know it's kind of random, but I'm very grateful for Toyota. You know, they take care of me. I bought a car from them last year. I know it's kind of funny, but I had this heated seat issue that I installed, and I almost burned my ass, and they were like, got me a rental car, fixed it, and I came back and all in one day. I was like, okay, that's service. I love customer service, right?
Yeah.
I got to have an amazing client today that I really changed their life through hair, and their personality. She felt like herself after I cut her hair, and that's always an amazing feeling. And I'm also very grateful for my breath. I mean, I wake up every day so thankful that I'm breathing. And there's so much, loss in this world and sadness. And if you can just be thankful for breath every single day, that will little bit by little bit will change your mindset. So, Vic, what are you grateful for?
Well, I'm grateful for this opportunity and the fact that you reached out and invited me onto this. I gotta say, I'm grateful for these 2 little nuggets. Well, one that you can see right now.
Yeah.
They they play a huge part in my life and the growth that I've undergone.
Yeah.
And I have to say that I'm also grateful for every day because to wake up, to breathe, and to have another day available to us is such an underrated blessing that we just can't even comprehend it.
Right. I mean, we definitely just have to think about that. Like, oh my God, we're breathing.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
forget
Or
about the simple things.
yeah, like your body is amazing. It autopilot breathes while you're asleep. Like when your brain just goes into whatever state it's in to reset, recalibrate, process all the information, and your body still functions as you're asleep.
Yeah, it's
That's
pretty incredible.
yeah.
It's pretty incredible. So you guys, Vic, again, we met through our coaching group, and um, we are going to go on a journey of what it meant to him to become a free man in his mind, and what he's doing today to help others. So, Vic, just introduce what you do to our audience, and start by telling your story about where you came from, how you fell into the path that you are on today to becoming a free man.
All right. Well, thank you. So I'm a Mindpower coach, and I help any and everybody free their minds and also level up to the point where they want to be successful and free of those obstacles, the trauma, the baggage, anything that holds them from fulfilling their life and their purpose.
Amazing.
Oh, it's what my calling in life is.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to figure out how to get here. So not many people know this, but I'm a first generation American. So I was born to immigrant parents.
Wow.
And oh yeah, it it was an interesting life growing up because you have 2 different cultures.
Mhm.
Persian culture, Middle Eastern, like the shit that's going on in Iran with the women.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. So my mom fled the country, my biological mom fled the country in the middle of the night when the Shah of Iran was falling. She hitchhiked and hiked through Turkey, got into Turkey, got transported through, I don't remember, it was like UNICEF or something, to Cyprus, from Cyprus to Italy. So she got here, knows zero English, meets my dad, who's from Russia, Soviet Russia back in the day. And
Wow.
yeah, so hello, surprise, 9 months later.
Wow. That's amazing. So you have a
Yeah.
lot of culture and a lot of things that, you grew up around. And I'm sure that was probably difficult, but also a blessing all at the same time, you
Oh,
know?
yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, So culturally, it was kind of binding because you have the expectations. So from my mom's side, all the cultural expectations of what it means to be a boy and then a man in the family, as well as on the Russian side, the expectations there for, obedience, discipline, and abiding by the word of the patriarch, which was in this case my dad.
Right.
But then American culture is very different, right?
Extremely.
Yeah. So there's a lot of conflict in there.
Yeah. Yeah. So how was it growing up? Because you are also adopted. So like explain that. Like what is that like?
So I'll say this. I'm grateful to my biological parents for all the lessons that they gave me
Mm,
and all that I could learn from them. But my adoptive family is the family that I was meant to be with.
yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. Things weren't so good at home with my biological parents, and then they both passed away when I was younger.
Oh,
So, yeah. So I met my friend. His name's Eric. I met him when I was 14. First time we ever hung out, I hiked like 3 miles with my Xbox, the original OG Xbox.
that's amazing.
Yeah. I'm walking along Lynn Road in Thousand Oaks, if you're familiar with that
Oh
road.
yeah. Yeah, by
Uh-huh.
the way, apparently we came from the same hood, y'all. 805 area. Any of you guys out there watching? Yeah, we started talking, we exchanged numbers, and he had 805, and I was like, what in the world? So he kind of recognizes some of my younger siblings because he's
Uh-huh.
a lot younger than me.
I'm
I mean,
not that much younger than you.
I look at
Okay, okay, hold on. What's age really?
oh, nothing. It's all about
Okay,
how you feel.
right.
That will come out in your skin, really,
Exactly.
Exactly.
And seeing as I'm Middle Eastern, I'm just gonna be a crippled and cranky old man by the time I'm 45. So we're good.
You're good. You got 15 years. Okay, so
Yeah.
you're hiking with your Xbox,
Yeah.
Eric.
Okay. So I'm hiking in my Xbox to who then becomes my best friend's house on my birthday. I'm all alone. And the first interaction I have with his family, they find out that it's my birthday and that my mom was working and was going to be working until like 6 o'clock in the morning the next day. And they found out that it was my birthday. And so while we're playing Xbox, one of the siblings goes out, gets a cake, gets some candles and stuff like that. And they have a birthday celebration for me, and I'm a nobody.
Right.
And for me, like I get emotional about it now, but back then I was confused. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Sorry for
Right. Oh,
like like I'm not used to this. One, celebrating birthdays, but two, like somebody actually cared enough for me
mhm.
to focus and celebrate me. It was a weird thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's gotta be super weird, especially when you're not used to that kind of thing and you just meet somebody and you're like, what is it? Especially when you're not being taught what like love with
mhm.
between family is,
Oh
which
yeah.
doesn't mean it's blood family. I mean, this can like, I mean, I got like stepmoms all over the place. You know what I mean? Or I would say adopted parents that I've
Right.
adopted like into my life, and it's amazing. And you learn love that way. But at first you're like, what is it that makes you so uncomfortable?
Right. Because you're not used to it and it's different than what your original programming or experience is.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like think about it. My experience of love was getting yelled at and ridiculed for 13 years up until that point, being
Mhm.
told I'm not good enough, I'll never be enough, or I'll just be like my piece of shit father.
Right.
So 13 years, the formative and the adoptive years of your life where you learn and believe things, you're told all this garbage.
So that
So
must have been like kind of a spiritual awakening, maybe at your age, whether you knew it or not, to be on the path of like reprogramming your mind of accepting love and, being on that path, even though we might have not have seen that at a young age, but we were learning as every day was coming into our
right.
lives with these people.
Oh yeah. It definitely threw me for a loop and I didn't consciously become aware of it. Like you said, like, you're not aware that it's changing your programming and all that, but over time you start yearning for it. You're like, I want that.
Yeah.
How do I get that?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like miracle upon miracle. I firmly believe in miracles. So that was one of my life.
Absolutely. So you just became part of their family and like life just kept going.
Yep, I'd get kicked out of my house, go hang out at their place.
Yep.
Every moment that I was, not in school or working, I was at their house. It pissed off my biological mom. She's like, "Why the fuck are you always over there?" It's
I
like I
understand
feel
that.
safe and I feel at home.
I understand that. I
Yeah,
understand that because, that's what my mom would say to me also. And like, even still to this day, if and when, we do have conversations, in the past, she'd be like, oh, you're going to go hang out with your other mom. Like, I mean, it's just like, dude, we can all be in this together if you just forgive yourself and move on and like just appreciate
right,
like the grace that everyone is giving each other because love is love and doesn't matter where you get it from.
right,
um it matters how it makes you feel and it matters what you do with that for other people,
right.
you know. um so I mean, shout out to your family. um of course, shout out to your biological parents for doing the best that they could do,
Right.
and shout out to your family that like adopted you and gave you this life.
Mhm.
That's incredible.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot of you
Oh,
when it comes to that family, right? A lot of love, a lot of different
yeah.
conversations and like different ways of growing. I'm sure that's just incredible for you then and today.
Oh yeah. I I've spoken to a therapist, and statistically, based on all the shit that I'd gone through in my life up until that point of meeting them, I should be in prison for like 2 to 3 multiple murders, shit like that. Like I one time spoke with the therapist for like 2 hours. She's like, based on your history and the experiences that you've had, you should be in prison for multiple murders. Like I'm talking two, three, four, five, like whatever the amount is. Like this
Right.
is resilience that's profound. She said,
Right.
like something about the way that you resisted all the negative shit.
Right.
Yeah, it was
Right.
interesting.
I think about that all the time. I think about that all the time with how like felt about myself and how I
Mhm.
was treated. I'm just like, damn, I could have been like an addict somewhere or like just like fell into the despair forever and would have just like made everybody else feel in despair. And like, I mean, this is going down a whole other other road, but it's just like, when there are shootings and, all this crazy, horrible stuff that happens in our world, it really comes back to your family. It comes back to what you were programmed with as a child and how you feel. But like, again, like you have a fucking choice, and
Mhm.
but you have to be taught like what that choice is, like that you are actually have that availability to have that choice. And so many people don't even know they have it, and then they
Yeah.
do crazy things and like shoot people and hurt people's families forever, because they feel so unloved, they feel so unheard and so unseen. And that's why all this, trauma happens. On another side note, with like guns and stuff, I don't, me personally, it's not the gun, it is how people are taught to respect the guns. I think children should be learning what this is, what it does, where you shoot it, have respect for it. Teach your kids from the beginning, be transparent with them and know and teach them about respect and other things. And like, I feel like when a child knows that, they're going to be like, okay, they know that it's very dangerous.
Oh yeah.
So,
Well, think about it this way too. There's a lot of focus and hate on guns and their use in these shootings and
yeah,
things like that. Let's like if people were to look at it differently, in London, you're not allowed to carry a knife anymore because of all the stabbings and beheadings that have been going on.
right,
There was a Middle Eastern nanny who beheaded a 2-year-old in front of her, employer's home. This was like 3 years ago, and then paraded around up and down the street holding the head of the 2-year-old. So is it really the object or the item that's the use of that we need to focus on, or is it the problem of people choosing to do harm
right,
and violence as a
right,
way of expression?
right. I think it's huge, and I do think there should be something, should be some kind of, gun control with how you get a gun for sure. But also, let's talk about how we teach about guns. Let's have like therapy. Let's have like help with the mental health. I mean, this goes it's a huge circle. That's what I think, that's how I feel, and that's just my personal opinion, you guys. Like, if you don't agree with me, it's okay.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's just not about like having gun control. It's so much bigger than that. There's so much help that needs to be pushed in our minds, and having respect towards each other, and of course love. And that's super hard
Oh yeah. Well,
to
we
come
talk about a
together with
broken
that.
society. Like society is broken and it feeds off the brokenness of it. Not that we want to go down that rabbit hole too deep, but if you think about it, chaos breeds more chaos.
Right.
And we're trying to be organized and structured in it, and it just pulls at us from every direction.
Right.
So
Right.
it's learning how to have that peace and that order within yourself
Right.
so that way, whatever the external stimuli are hitting you, they don't affect you. They don't sway your mind this way or that. They don't sway your emotions this way or that. It's who you are,
Mhm.
what your purpose is.
Yeah.
And because of that, all this chatter and noise around you that's trying to distract you or sway you one way or another is like a little fly that you just hit with the little assault gun, whatever that thing is called.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something that you teach yourself, you have the choice to teach yourself that, to block out, those negativity, or really block out what's fake. I mean,
Yeah.
let's be honest, So at what age did you really feel that you're like, okay, I'm changing, I'm evolving, I'm feeling some sort of way where I'm receiving all this love. How can I give it to other people like me?
16. That's when that's the age that I remember significantly.
And what's the story behind that? Like what happened to you when you were 16?
I can't tie it down to one specific event. I just remember I was at a point in my life where I was trying to really define who I was. Like I've gone through substance abuse and
Hmm.
self abuse and things like that, trying to figure out because I was conflicted inside. Like I had all these feelings, all these thoughts, all these emotions, and I just didn't have a proper way to express them.
Huh. Right.
Moreover, I didn't know what was okay and what wasn't because of all the different pulls that I had. Like my adoptive family and their belief systems and fitting in and socially being there, then the cultural aspects and the social aspects was still being tied to my biological mother at this point, and US culture, things like this. And I'm like a little leaf in the wind, and there's multiple gusts of wind taking me wherever, and I was trying to figure it out.
Mhm.
And I remember that I just one day tuned it on and I just got to work and I was like, you know what, I'm going to help this person. And one of my friends reached out. She's like, "Hey, I'm feeling suicidal. Can you just talk to me?" And I stayed up all night chatting with her on the phone. I racked up a humongous bill because back then we didn't have unlimited talk. It was the
Oh, right.
like the days of the Sidekick and the flip phones and all that shit. Oh yeah.
I can
So
imagine how much that was. It's probably cheap compared to now, but keep going.
my the bill was like $700. I remember that.
Yeah, see, that's not that bad today.
No, no. But like I remember I stayed up all night talking to my friend and just helping her see different perspectives and approaches to the scenario because she was, I don't remember what she was distraught about. It was something in her family.
Yeah.
And I remember that it was like 5 or 6 in the morning when she like it finally clicked in her head and she got rid of all the emotion that she was feeling, was able to talk it out, and she realized, oh, I matter.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the beginning of the process for me because I'd studied psychology. Fun fact, I typed up and researched all of my biological mom's bachelor papers for psychology and child development. So like
Wow.
I knew all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But the application of it was cool. It's like, oh, I helped save a life today.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I was. So that was the beginning of the process of like, how do I help this person come out of this experience or this interaction better? How
Yeah.
can I help them change their mind?
Right. Right. That's amazing. I mean, Because people struggle with that so much. And sometimes the problem that they think is the problem is not the problem until they learn how to take out their emotions and
Right.
actually talk through it and be like, oh, there's the actual problem. And
Mhm.
it's helping people recognize what that problem is so you can actually help them figure out their new path.
Right.
And I mean, it's so amazing that we all have the ability to do that for each other. Some, other people are a lot gifted than that, which you are. You absolutely have a gift with your words and your presence and your energy. And I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing because helping others like fills up their cup and it fills up yours too. Hate takes so much energy. Just like Sean Whalen's daughter, when before she went on her mission trip, she talked about this exact thing. Giving love doesn't cost anything. It doesn't take that much energy to say hi or hug somebody or ask if they're okay. It's so simple.
Yeah.
Um, and I think hatred also makes us so sick, you
Mhm.
know, like physically sick.
It's a poison. It's
Absolutely.
like if love is the balm or the cure, then hate is the poison.
Yeah.
And you see examples of it all over the place, like in your own personal life and socially. Like people just they hate on other people for no reason,
Yeah.
right? It's like
Right.
why
Weird.
do you waste so much energy on this?
Mhm.
Why?
Yeah. And I'm sure it comes down to because they freaking hate themselves. I think the biggest win for anybody is literally looking at yourself in the mirror and being like, damn, you're awesome. I love that person. I love myself. That is
Mhm.
that is life changing.
Oh
Just
yeah.
but it takes leaps and bounds for every individual in different ways to actually get there. It might take, 3 years of reading post-it notes every single day on your mirror, every single day of like saying, like, what do I love about myself today? And like being real with yourself. It's hard. And people don't like to do hard work, especially in today's society when everything's like right now, right now, right now. Life doesn't work like that.
Right.
If it was easy, to just like wake up and be like, "Hey, I'm awesome. I love myself and I hated myself yesterday." It would be easy. When you work hard for something, you have the respect for yourself.
Right.
And it really makes you a better person in everything that you do as a friend, as a mother, as a husband, as a business partner, all those things. It literally makes your life better. We are giving you gold is just like love yourself, learn to do it.
Right.
So speaking of that, Vic, like we'll go back to your story in a second, but what is like some tips that you recommend for people of like simple things that they can do, maybe 1 to 3 things of how you can push the envelope every single day, little bits at a time to love yourself?
So that's a good question. And I'm going to preface it with this. Every person and their circumstance is different. And
Mhm.
so every person has to acknowledge that they have different programs running internally of their belief systems.
Mhm.
So, with that being said, I think the best approach is to do something that's custom to each person, whether it's getting up in the morning and complimenting yourself, like
Mhm.
being grateful for one capability that you have as a human being. Like, hey, I can jump 36 inches. Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But every person has to put the meaning behind the words. Like, you can just go through the motions and say, hey, yeah, I did 3 things of gratitude today, but did you really focus
Mhm.
on feeling the gratitude,
Yeah.
that energy internally within yourself? Or, some person says, I pray, and that's how I, develop love for myself. Okay, but what are you communicating with that prayer? Or are you just speaking into the nothing?
Yeah. That's
So
awesome.
it's interesting because every person's approach can be different and tailored to their circumstance,
Absolutely.
but it's the intent that you put behind it.
Yeah.
That,
Well, when you do things like that, when you talk about feeling it, like when you feel it, it's energy and everything has energy in it, And when you sit and do those things like fill up your body with that energy of that feeling of what it gives you. And it might be for like 10 seconds that you feel that way because it's hard for you. But if
Right.
you do that every day, it'll go to 20 seconds or 30
Right.
seconds or like hours. Like you just
Muscle.
have to be consistent.
Just train
Oh,
your muscle like you would like if you're going for a hike. You're not going to go hike Mount Kilimanjaro right away. You're going to do like maybe a 1 miler, then a 2 miler, maybe a 10 miler eventually. You're
right.
you're teaching your body, and in this case, the emotional, the spiritual, the mental side, to
Mhm.
start flexing and using that muscle.
Yeah.
So you
Mm.
start using it more, you start getting stronger with it. So
Yeah.
that it has it. So everything in your mind and your body and on the spiritual realm is connected.
Yeah.
So when you start flexing internally on the emotional side, you'll see it have positive effects and influence on the physical, spiritual, financial, social. It's not like, oh, this aspect of my life is going to improve. It's no, you build up this side, it positively influences all the others in the circle.
Right. Right. It's so true, and like, have some spirituality, guys. Like, you don't have to believe in God. Like, that's up to you, but believe in something that's bigger than you. And energy is a great thing to believe in because everything, everything has energy. So all those things that have energy can all come through you spiritually. And it's a really
So
amazing thing to tap into when you learn how to do that.
so if you really want to break somebody's mind, uh,
Ooh, okay.
so let's dive into quantum physics a little bit.
Okay.
So quantum physics, energy is everywhere and everything, down to the very quant or the
Mhm.
quanta that we're talking about. Which means that if you were to try to combine, science and religion together, what if God was just, a master quantum physicist and he
Mhm.
just organized and reshaped reality according to how he perceives it?
Right.
Which then you could dive in deeper, be like, okay, if we're created in the image of God, does
Right.
that not mean that we have the same capabilities to shape and reshape the reality, the quanta, the very matter of life and essence, into
Mhm.
how we want to perceive it?
Ooh. Yeah, yes, we do.
So you are literally the architect of your own reality.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you are your person, you're your person first. So, like, you have the ability to do whatever you want. You really
Mhm.
do. As, long as you learn to focus on those things that you want, study, go to those places, talk to these people. Like, there's so many things that, it's at our fingertips. I mean, hello, this little thing right here,
Yep.
I mean,
Well, okay.
makes
Well, look.
everything a little bit easier, but like that energy of, what you get for what you put into really comes out in big waves.
Oh yeah. So looking at your life. You mentioned that you wanted to have a change. You wanted some big leaps and bounds, right? That's why you left the Ventura County.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I felt like I was in quicksand, man. And it was just like, I love the people in that county, and it's small and a lot of people who live in Ventura live there their whole lives. And they're amazing people, but like, and it's not like you can't grow in the same area that you grew up in. I'm not saying that, but it's harder to because you're so comfortable.
Right.
Like you have all these friends from all these years. You get comfortable doing the same things, especially when it's a smaller town. There's only so much you can do unless you really get out and out and out. And I just felt stuck. Like I wanted to do all these things, but I was like, I can't do this here. I need to be around growth, expand my mind, and have like the energy of where I feel like my heart belongs in Colorado, right? I've always felt that. And like I had to get out to change.
Right.
Like I could not grow if the people around me were not growing, you know,
Right.
like, and so those people will always be my friends. I've had my best friends for 25 something years and we will always be friends. I know that for a fact. And, some of those relationships are stronger than others, like they've kind of, you know, uh, switched around and it really has depended on their growth also, and so, it's really important to have new friends,
Yep.
keep your old friends, but have new friends that are growing massively around you, growing bigger than you are. And that's what I'm trying to do. Right. And so you feel that fire. And for me, when I moved, I was like, well, shit, I can do anything, you know,
Yep.
like it actually is so much easier than you think.
Oh yeah.
And it just really has been so expansive in my whole soul, my heart, my mind. And it's like, well, if I can do that, I can do anything.
Right.
That's just moving, you know? So
So changing your environment and to your point of the whole like dropping friends and all that, I have done the same thing as I've grown and expanded. I will love my friends dearly. Like
yeah,
every single friend that I've made throughout the years, the different circumstances in life that we've been through, but there comes a certain point where your elevation depends on whether or not you keep them.
right,
I don't mean this in a negative fashion, but it's just a matter of fact that if you're going to a height that they cannot yet even comprehend,
right,
the best thing for everyone involved is to drop the weight.
right.
So you could still maintain those relationships. You can still have those friendships, but it's the energy and the focus and the people you surround yourself with that are going to push you higher.
Absolutely. And it's kind of, you know, like for those listening, it is kind of hard to wrap your mind around that. But if you're in a place where you're in that quicksand, like it is going to be hard for you to think about that. You know, when you get out of the quicksand, you're like, oh, cool, I can still have these friends, but I can have other friends that like, you know, I'm going to put someone around me that makes more money. I'm going to put someone around me who's like a master, you know, motivational speaker. I'm going to put all these people that are better than me around me because I want to be just as good as them. And then you rise together, you know, you change the world together. And so I have felt like, I mean, even though I'm here in Colorado Springs, I don't have a lot of friends out here. But my family who is out here like have moved like mountains, you know, and so it's really neat to be around them. And then I get to meet people through this,
Mhm.
through our coaching group. And so I'm already building these people around me. They don't have to be next door.
Yep.
I learned that. Like I was like, these people don't have to be next door to me, you know? So and it's just a really beautiful thing that like when you get yourself into that mind space, all these people start coming around you. And you're like, cool, like this is awesome, right? Like it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh yeah.
Like for you now, you know, what point in like your life did you really become free in your mind to be able to help people free their minds?
I would say I had all the tools and the capabilities and the power to help people do that when I was about 21.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. I did the, the typical thing. I went to school, I studied and all that crap. And it never really like I have my own opinions about formal education. I'm over it. Um
Oh yeah, I
and
do too.
yeah. So I realized that we're more constricted in our approach in life than we realize.
Mm-hmm.
Like people are talking and speaking these limiting beliefs about themselves and they're making them into reality. And I
Yeah,
always question, I'm like, why? Why do you think that you're not capable of doing something?
right.
Do that. But nobody really had an answer. They're like, well, I don't know. It's like, okay, but like, what do you want to do instead? I want to do this. Then go fucking do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I would challenge them and they would shy away. They're like, I can't, I can't. It's too comfortable. I like my comfort. It's like, okay, then don't complain about it because you're never going to get to where you want to be if you keep doing the same shit every day, hoping for a new result without changing anything in the process.
Right. Right. And that's the thing, like I hear it behind the chair all the time. Complaints about time, you
Mhm.
know, complaints about, you know, what they don't have and like, you know, what they want and what they wish they have. And it's just like, well, why don't you do it? Like, why don't you have it, you know? And then a lot of it comes down, well, I don't have enough money to do that. Well, if you don't have enough money, you know, there's free literature, there's free YouTube videos, there's free all this stuff that like there's so many like millionaires that like never went to school. I mean,
Yeah.
to be honest, you know, if money is an issue, right? Um, So I think, asking why about everything that you complain about, there's another tip for reality of like
Yeah.
where you can lay your goals down. So how did you, start like helping people? Do you have a practice? Like what is your goal on how to help more people today?
So I have a goal, and it's to positively impact over 1 million people in my lifetime. So with that, I do coaching, and I look to have those one-on-one coaching interactions with people. I also like to go to events so that way I can share nuggets with people and help stimulate them along their growth and the direction that they want to go on, like the fly-in where we met.
Yeah.
I like to serve. I like to add value wherever I go, whatever I do,
Mhm.
because I win, and this is my belief. I win when others win. And what I
Yeah.
mean by that is when I add value to somebody's life, when I can help them change their approach, their perception, some internal belief that they have that positively impacts their life, that's me winning,
Mhm.
because their success is then tied, or my success is then tied to their success.
Right. Right.
Like, I know I'm going to be very wealthy in this lifetime.
Yeah.
I'm laying my seeds out and I'm helping people everywhere in any way that I can,
Right.
because the money aspect is just going to be a reflection of the value that I'm adding out into the universe. And I've noticed a common trend where the more I serve, the richer I get.
Right.
It's
Right.
fascinating.
It is fascinating, right? I mean, like I ask myself all the time, or just like in general to people, like, where are you adding value? How are you adding value? Like I taught a cutting class, 2 months ago at the salon, and I didn't start with like, oh, let's cut these bangs this way. I'm like, how are you adding value every day to your clients? It's not just about cutting hair, you guys. Like you need to add value, and that is how you're going to get your clients to come back to you, because they're not only getting a good haircut, they are getting something else. They're getting a feeling, they're getting energy,
Mhm.
that we talked about before.
Oh, yeah. My
So,
hairdresser. So, my hairdresser and I have a great relationship. Her
yeah.
name is. So, her haircuts are usually like 120 bucks, right? Every time I've gone in, it's 45. And here's why. I never ask for a discount. I never ask for a percentage off or anything like that. What we do when she and I are chatting while I'm in the chairs, I'm talking to her about her business. Hey,
Yeah.
how's your business doing? How can I help you grow it?
Mhm.
What are the struggles that you have going on? And so this turns into an hour strategy session between her and I on how she can improve her business. She
Yeah.
then goes and implements those, and she does the hair care product that's like the direct selling company. Monate. Monate.
Hmm.
So she does Monate. You might have your own opinions about it. It doesn't matter to me. It's
It's
just about
okay.
right. But it's the whole like, how do I add value and help her with her business and help it to grow? She
Yeah.
goes and implements and she's like, hey, that was awesome. Thank you. And then the next time I go get my haircut, it's 45 bucks. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, did the prices change? She's like, no, that's your price. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
it's like, even in a chair as a client, I can help add value to her business.
Right. Right. I mean, you can add value anywhere you go. You can add value to someone standing in the grocery line.
Mhm.
Like if people are willing to ask questions, like respond, even if it's just with kindness, like, I mean, you can totally change somebody's day.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
what makes you different with how you help people free their minds? What's different about you? Why should people come to you?
I mean, there's only one of me in this world, first off.
Yes,
So
there you have it.
what you get, you might get a Jesus lookalike, which there you go with the hair and all that.
I
Uh,
love it.
thank you. What makes me different is the fact that I hear you.
Mm,
A lot of folks, when they're getting trained or mentored or they're coaching with somebody, excuse me, I got something in my eye. A lot of coaches out there are just waiting to hear the keywords that they're looking for in order to progress the conversation.
mhm.
I've got my programs on how to help people improve their mind power and level up.
Right.
I've also got the flexibility to pivot and shift the direction of the coaching as needed to
Mm,
help a person in what they currently need tonight
yeah.
for tomorrow. So if that means you have to throw the battle plan out the window temporarily to focus on resolving an issue that's being your stumbling block for tomorrow and this week, then we'll do that. A lot of coaches stick to the regimen. They're like, no, we got to stick to the program. It's like, yeah, that's great and all, but like, they're a person. They have needs.
Mm-hmm.
This process of like forcing a square peg into a circle hole or whatever crap doesn't work. You
Right.
have to be adaptive and flexible with your own mind in order to help them be flexible with theirs.
Right. That's kind
That
of,
also, yeah, it's a fun thing when it comes to coaching because every person is different and every single person's problems are different.
yeah. And it's interesting when somebody hears you, and it's just like, just being heard. I have a lot of clients are like, thank you for listening. And I'm like, how easy it is to listen to what someone actually wants in a haircut or color? Like, if you listen to them, you really are listening to exactly what they want. Of course, again, you can shift it into like, well, I don't think that's going to look good on your face shape, but we could do this with your ideas, of course, because they're not professionals. They're going to you for professional enhancement or help in your case. And, listening is like it's like a superpower. It's
Well,
a huge superpower.
it's not only listening, it's also hearing what they're not saying, but what they need to.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a lot of language is unspoken.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
you look at languages like Arabic or Russian, they have, 30 verbs to convey to see, but
Wow.
it's the context attached to them of like, oh, I see a distance or I see something up close, right?
Right.
In English, we don't really have that. We
Yeah.
have a lot of intonation, emotion, the subtext that's underneath what the words that we're saying are.
Right.
So, like your experience where you're listening to your clients as they're talking about their lives, they're saying one thing, but you're really hearing the undercurrent of like, hey, this is a pain right now for my heart.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You definitely experience certain clients, when you're like, are you really seeing this like what you're saying? And like, it's kind of hard for me, as a hairdresser where I can go, but I'm not afraid. I don't, like I'm going to tell you what, I feel if you're talking to me about something. As long as like I'm listening and, being caring to what somebody is saying, I'm like pretty blunt, because you have to kind of be extremely blunt with yourself when you're growing as well, but with you, I mean, it's a lot different where people are like waiting for that shift for them to recognize what they're actually saying.
Right.
And so like your goal is to help 1 million. That is amazing. That's a really good goal, like 1 million people. And like, do you keep track of this? Like, how are you keeping track of 1 million people?
I go by average of how many people I help a month.
Oh yeah.
So I just do it at that. And I say, I started calculating it out from the time of when I made this goal. So
Yeah.
I'm at about like 5,200 roughly right now. And I made this goal last August.
Wow. That's amazing. And like, do you help people more virtually or can people get help virtually with you or one-on-ones with you or whatever? It's all
So
progress.
I'm open to any method of helping a person. If they like a one-on-one in person, then I absolutely will do it in person.
Yeah.
If distance is an issue where they don't have a private jet to fly 8 hours to come in a session, then of course we'll do it virtually. I
Yeah.
also one thing I used to do back in the day that I'm going to start doing again is having group classes.
Yeah.
A collective of people can come together and we start focusing on increasing their mind power and improving their mindset.
Yeah.
So the approach, the implementation, it doesn't matter as long as they have a desire to work with me,
Right.
make it happen, whether it's virtual, whether it's in person, one
Right.
on one, or in a group setting.
Right. Which you're going to be doing next weekend.
Mm-hmm. Wait, this weekend.
I mean, this weekend. That's right. Yeah, because I heard about it last week. And so I'm
Yeah,
already, I swear,
that's
like,
all right. It's a month already.
I know. So, if you guys are in Denver, I don't even know if you have spots even. Well, this is going to come out. You know what? Never mind, you guys. This is going to come out on Monday.
Well,
But I'm going to post a picture of us tonight and be like, hey, But I think that's amazing. I think it's really inspiring, and like you doing that is inspiring me. Like I am working on like doing an event this summer, and
Nice.
just having people get together. It's a very small group. I just thought it was so powerful what I saw at the fly-in. You have this small amount of people, and yeah, Sean's there. Sean's there to lead, and then other people are start leading each other. Exactly what you did to that man that was standing up. Man, I'll never forget that. Like, I'm sure you made such a huge impact on him. And it's just like, making people feel comfortable in an atmosphere where they can lead on each other and push each other, be like, and bring something out, like have that human experience. You know what I mean? And so I think it's wonderful that you're coming out here and I can't go, but
I'll tell you what, I was thinking about doing another event in January.
oh, good.
Oh,
Good. Even though
so
it's really icy out here in January, so you gotta be careful, but
I mean, I live in Utah, and
it's out
my
there.
dog just did the four-way split, so I think we're in same grounds.
Yeah. So, because I, would love to come to an event of yours, and just like, and this is what we're talking about, you guys, like, you surround yourself with people that want to change. That energy in that room, like it's
Mhm.
life changing. And we,
Palpable.
we don't even know what we're going to be talking about, right? I mean, I'm sure like even on here, I never have a script for anything that I do on here. It's completely raw. It's all about what needs to come out. And I feel like whatever we talk about on here is something for that the viewer needs to hear. You know, I might have something that I want to say, but whatever comes out is actually what the viewer needs to hear, you know?
Well, if you think about it this way too, you are tapping into that natural energetic side of yourself that's in tune with the divinity, right?
Yeah.
And because of that, you're becoming an instrument in whatever, if you believe in God, you're becoming an instrument in God's hands
Yeah.
or in the great universe's hands. And therefore, the words that you speak, the message that you convey, whether it's direct or indirect, will reach the necessary ears to have the necessary influence.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Now, hmm? You
Yeah.
want me to?
That's good. Y'all write that down, okay? Write it down. Yeah, that's divine.
Mhm.
That's divine. So what are you going to be doing in your workshop this weekend? Are you like, what are you looking forward to? Are you excited? I'm sure you are.
Oh yeah. I love working with people. It just drives into my passion of helping others. And this weekend, what we're doing is we're going to be helping people with having a little breakthrough, breaking through whatever the trauma or the little running parachute that they've got that's dragging that along with them,
Yeah.
helping them cut the little strings of that and let go of it. And so we're doing, my buddies and I, we're doing a 4-hour event, and we're
Right.
going to do a hybrid process to help people break that.
Wow. So you have other people coming with you.
Yeah, so I have my buddies Robert and Sean. We
Okay.
uh, we went through a certification course together,
Okay.
and so I just had the random idea of like, hey, let's just do an event together. Like Sean wants more experience, Robert likes to have exposure, and I just like helping people. So it's going to be a trifecta of we're each going to add our own value to it.
How did you?
But so I'm one of 43 people certified in a certain methodology called the Mindpower Breakthrough Process.
Hmm.
Um, the mentors and my coaches for this are, they were on Apple News a while ago. It was like last week, I think, for
Wow.
being the number one leading mentors of emotional resilience in the self-development world.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really cool.
That is cool.
So we all met through that similar program, and we're all in different aspects and areas of our coaching lives. Like Robert's got his thing, Sean's got his thing, I've got my thing,
Yeah.
and everyone has different experiences. And so we were just chatting one day, and we're like, hey, we should all hang out. We're like, hey, why don't we do an event together? Why don't we like help kick off the new year for some folks and give them a really good jump start on this new year, focusing on
Right.
helping them resolve whatever it is that's keeping them from the next level of success.
Oh man, that's gonna be so good. My buddy Aaron, who is in
Um,
the den too, he's like so pumped. I was talking to him about it. I'm like, I'm so jealous you're going. He's like, you're not. I'm like, I can't. Like, I already have these clients. and it's my uncle's birthday party with 3 other people. We are having like 25 freaking people over here. And
Nice.
it's just gonna be, something that like I'm gonna cherish and be thankful for, especially with, we've just had a loss in our family. My uncle just lost his sister. And so it's kind of like one of those things where this is gonna have so much joy. And I'm excited to be a part of that. But I'm like, but I want to do that too. So I know one person already who's going, and he is so pumped.
Oh yeah. I
His
I, I know
mind
Aaron.
is so beautiful. Like I love him so much.
He is
So
a quality human being.
isn't he? He's amazing. Aaron, if you're listening to this, you're amazing, buddy. We love you.
Call me because
So,
called me in a minute.
huh?
Yeah, I was telling him he should call me because he hasn't called me in a minute.
Oh, yeah, he should. But it's just, when you get all these people together, it's just like you're not just being you out there helping people, you're building an army. You know what I mean? Um, like the more that we help everybody individually, and then like, hey, let's come together
Mhm.
and like have everyone feel that energy too.
Oh yeah.
Like that's incredible. And
Oh
I'm sure
yeah.
that, the people that do come to your event this time, December 10th, which is this Saturday, you guys, are really going to want to come to your next event with somebody else, bringing somebody else, like even with the breath work that I did with Jen at the women's event. I have continued to talk to her. I have continued to share her stories. She was on my channel. I had Daniel come on this week and talk about his experience with his 10-year-old. And it's such a beautiful like snowball effect of like all these different people that are coming to your life to help. And it's like, how can we all come together
Right.
and keep pushing other people to unlock their freedom of what they really have in this life? I mean, it's just amazing how many people have such blinders on, and then you're like gone. It's like when Sean talks about write your obituary, man. What does that look like?
Hmm.
I mean, if you think about that for like a little bit, you're like, damn. And it's like, okay, well, what are you going to accomplish to like have
Right.
a story about you?
Right. Because you got to start with the end in mind. You got to know what your end result is going to be. And you've got to have that, the big, hairy, audacious goal, the BHAG, as they call it, or the big fucking goal, the BFGs, that, you're not going to accomplish this in 5 to 10 years. This is a lifetime of work.
Right,
So it's beginning with the end in mind, and then how do you whittle it down to your everyday, so
right.
that way every day contributes, compounds to that obituary.
Right. Cause like, I mean, and it doesn't matter what age that you come to this realization. Like I just turned 40, you guys, right? As you know, in my first episode, I was depressed for 10 years. Like I just, started learning all these tools, like, and I really felt alone learning all these tools. And so I felt like it took me longer, but that's okay, and then once I got the balls to like move somewhere and then have these experiences and be like, I wanted to join the Lions Den for a year, and I was like, and I was so scared. But it's like, if you do something for yourself, the money doesn't matter because it's what you're winning out of those things. Like I was talking to Ryan Stewman. He's an amazing influencer, you guys. If you guys don't know him, look up Ryan Stewman at the Hardcore Closer. And, he was talking about reading books. And I was like, you know what? I just started reading like this year. And because I always was training my mind, like, I can't read. I can't read. I read 20 pages and I don't know what I just read. And then I do it all over again. And so, when I listen to audiobooks is when I'm driving, and I used to travel for work a lot. So that was cool. But now, that's not happening. And like I was telling Ryan, I was like, man, I wish I started reading when I was like one. Like it's so amazing the wisdom that you have through books. And I'm very thankful that I'm doing it now. I spend every day reading, and you just have so much value in that. And so the point of that is just like, it doesn't matter what age that you start something. You don't need to freak out like, holy shit, I only have half my life. Well, fuck yeah, I have half of a life still, like I have all these years to do something amazing.
Oh yeah. No, I'm going to give you a challenge because you just said something.
Okay.
So you said that you read like 20 pages and you don't remember what you just read and you have to start
Well,
over.
that's how it used to be. That's how,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
that's why I wouldn't read anything.
Okay. Because I was going to say, if that's still going on, then I was going to challenge you to say every night that you can read perfectly because that's reprogramming your mind
Right.
to go in and say, okay,
Right.
we're gonna read perfectly.
Yeah. And I love that. And that actually is another helpful tool to even myself to even grow more immensely in reading, and just for anyone out there. But yeah, I started reading just 5 pages a day, you guys, because I was like, "Ugh, okay, like, and I love
Right.
reading books where I'm learning, yes, I love fantasy, like, and sci-fi extremely, but I like watching that, reading something that is going to add value to me where I can give value to others by all these other books. Like that's what I love to read. And now I don't even know how many pages I read. Like I'm getting faster at completing books.
Nice.
I going to be reading the same book as my partner pretty soon. Stuff like that so we can talk about it um and like now I'm like, I used to laugh at people who had book clubs. I'm like, oh, I get that.
Mm.
It's just like when you're coaching, you're talking about something, you're just talking about a book and like all these things that I might see this book differently, and you might see this book differently, and you might hear like different things, it's amazing. So that's what I do now in my daily routine, and it's great.
Right on.
But I will keep saying that I'm a perfect reader. I'm an imperfect reader, right? Because nobody's perfect.
Right.
I'm
But you're a better reader.
a better reader.
Awesome.
And I am a better reader today, and I freaking love it. I'm so thankful. I'm thankful for that every single time I open a book, because the hardest thing is like, even when you're going to the gym, the hardest thing is what? Putting your shoes on, right? The hardest
Mhm.
thing is like actually opening it and, not thinking about what time, the time that you are or reading these books. It's like, don't worry about time, worry about the present things that you are reading.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Reading.
very new for me. But it's awesome. It's so great. So, I never even had books, right? But now I have like the stack. And then I got the 2 books that you recommended to me, and I
Nice.
opened them and I was like, oh, this looks really intense. But my mind is really intense, Ryan, very intuitive. So I'm very excited. I'm very thankful that you shared those books with me. So I'm excited.
Just watch. It's gonna be right up your alley. You're gonna be like, this is like kindergarten books. What the fuck, Nick?
Yeah, maybe.
It'll happen.
Yeah, maybe.
It'll happen.
Yeah, and when I finish those books, I would definitely love to like jump on a call, and I want to talk about it. I want to share it. So,
Yeah. Uh, I recommend what The Field by Lynn McTaggart and You Are the Placebo by Joe Dispenza, right?
mm-hmm.
Great books. They also have the audiobooks because I also had to transition to audiobooks for a minute.
Yeah, yeah,
I just devoured them. Like I was buying credits on Audible every week.
yeah.
And I
I did
just
that for a couple years, but now like I don't drive as much, so. And usually when I'm driving, I'm listening to music or other calls like, that are available. So, all this power behind listening to the right coaches, you guys, and reading. I mean, it's so powerful, and saying that you love yourself every day. And those are 4 little things that you can be doing. So, with that said, I try to keep these calls like an hour so we don't like make people feel like they're bored.
I mean, I'm enjoying the conversation, so I'm
Oh,
just
I
saying.
am too. I am too. I really am too. But like when you let me ask this question, like when you have all these experiences helping people, how do you take your emotion out of that if it's very, very emotional?
That's a good question because you, of course, can get pulled into somebody's, world and experience, and
Right.
with that empathy, you can feel that emotion for them.
Right.
But you like my approach is to have that long-term perspective or that vision of, okay, if we were like on a microscope, if you were to zero it out a little bit so that you have a broader view, you're not as finite in the details, but you have a bigger picture view.
Right.
it helps to remove that emotion and that response or getting clouded with that emotional judgment because you see the bigger picture. Like, yes, like, okay, um, we'll use my personal life as an example. How's that?
Okay.
So my biological dad died when I was 11 years old. I
Wow.
had a lot of anger, a
Mhm.
lot of anger because he was a piece of shit human being, treated me like shit, treated my dog like shit. And I was dialed in on this anger, right? That's all I could see and feel towards him.
Mhm.
So then my stepdad, who I called dad, challenged me one day. He just asked me, he's like, don't you feel sick holding on to all this anger all the time?
Mm.
Can you just like take a step back and maybe see how his perspective was? He's an immigrant, spoke bad English, had a hard life, was paralyzed. Like he tried to do the best that he could. Can you have that perspective?
Right.
Because he saw it from a broader view. He's
Right.
like, I see another father that tried his best.
Right. Right.
Whereas I was in it. I was in that emotional, like I am in the trenches with this shit.
Right.
So I always remember that because it radically changed the way I looked at my biological father. It
Wow.
also radically affected how I look at emotional things because yes, we could respond emotionally
Yeah.
to what our clients are experiencing and
Right.
doing. But if we just take a broader look at like, okay, this is now, where do I see this person 10 years from now? Who are they in their mind's eye? And
Right.
can I see that and envision it for them?
Ooh. Yeah. That's amazing. And I think you make a really good point about that. And, with those things, I feel like God is speaking through them for you to hear, like whatever you believe in. But it's like I had come to a point because I use so much emotion and anger with my own mom. And this is actually a really good thing to talk about, you guys, if you do have parents where you feel a lot of hatred towards. I felt a lot of hatred towards my mom for a long time because I couldn't understand why she couldn't like accept me and love me, and just communicate with me and be transparent and honest. And now I look at her as like she did the best that she could. I will tell you all the things that were amazing that she has done in my life. And now I will always keep space for her because she still holds all her anger and her trauma from her parents, you know what I mean? Or whatever she went through as a child. And and that's why I say it doesn't matter what age that you transition into forgiveness, into letting go, and keeping space for those that you love, because you can always hold space for them
Yeah.
and love them from afar. And when they work on themselves or you work on yourselves, that space will open up new horizons.
And it could be that it may take them years to come to that decision.
Absolutely. I mean, it took me, I was like, I felt like, that right now it'd be, kind of 25 years of like verbal mental abuse, right? But I felt like it took me probably around like age like 28 where I really woke up and was like, okay, I don't want to feel this way anymore. And you still like kind of, fall backwards, go forward, fall backwards, but it's okay, right? It's not going to happen overnight. And it took me years and I'm 40 years old now. So, and I feel like I'm the best place ever. And I mean, I really hope and pray that like our loved ones that are alive that don't want to be in our lives come in our lives someday. I really do. But those that are in our lives that do love us, I'm gonna love them real big. I'm gonna love them real big and squeeze them
That's fair.
forever. Forever. So I want you to, end this with like something that has been so powerful for you as a human being, that the most powerful one of the couple of the most powerful things that make you feel like so free and so loved, where you are able to do all these things for other people.
Hmm. I would say is when I firmly believed, and I challenge everyone to practice this, to believe that you matter.
Mm.
because someone somewhere out there needs to hear the stories that we have, the experiences that we have, so that way they can pivot or step into their new life.
Yeah.
And as long as we don't believe that, we won't lean into that ideal self that we are,
Mhm.
the future self that's going to influence and impact hundreds, if not thousands and millions of people
Right.
around the world.
Yeah. And it's so true. It's so true. I mean, even like if you guys listen to the episode like 22 with Jen and my breathwork experience, I was like, I am enough and I do matter. Like there was still parts of me that felt like I didn't matter, or like I wasn't enough for who I am.
Mhm.
And even though I've really loved myself for a long time, you still have to practice like still ripping those chains off, you guys, because it's so permanently in ourselves. And and then this week's episode with Daniel, with his 10-year-old, like this is what's not taught in educational system is like how to deal with emotion and learning that you matter at a young age. And she had that experience through her therapy with breath work. And I think that's going to be life changing for her for the rest of her life because she's 10. She's 10 and she did the work at 10 years old because her father introduces her to these things. And you as parents out there, you have the ability to introduce these things to your children through that, or talking with Vic. I know he could talk to anybody. I know he can change anybody's lives. It doesn't matter how old you are, to learn that you freaking matter because you do. You are beautiful. You're the only one unique to you out there. There's only one of you. That's what Vic said. He's like, well, there's only one of me. Like, and it's true. I know I had to
Absolutely.
bring that up again because it was so funny, but it's so true at the same time.
It absolutely is.
You know, you're
There's
beautiful.
only one of you. There's only one of you, and there's only one of Daniel.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like statistically, if you were to look at it, how beautiful is it that by all odds, the one you and the one Daniel met,
I know.
interact, right?
Right. Well, we met here on my YouTube channel.
Right,
Like, what are the odds?
right.
You know, what are the odds? But I think, for me personally and him personally, I can say this for him, like he's in the best place of his life he's ever been in. And so am I, and so like, all these goals that I had, and I will tell you, I learned this from Dr. D, who's also she's been on my channel. She's in our coaching group. And we talked about this too, Vic, is how like write down everything that you want in your life, or if that's in your person,
Mhm.
and after I met Daniel, I read all those things and there was like 3 things that were not there, but they could be, they will happen. You know what I mean? I was like, damn, like that is so cool. So I put it out there in the energy because I matter. Simple
You
as
are
that.
the architect of your own reality,
Yeah, going back to the very beginning of this conversation, you are the architect and you matter. That's great. This is
right?
great. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Well, I really wish the best for you this Saturday, and I really hope to come to the next one as long as I know a little bit more in advance. Well, and if there wasn't a party going on, like I would just
Hey,
I have
family
that
is
ability
important.
to my schedule, but I can't wait to come. And I can't wait to bring people with me because I'm sure I can get people even around here or my family to come, and so
Oh,
to do things together with your family is like super amazing. And I'm so
oh,
excited for you.
yeah.
And I know you're going to help a million people. Like that's going to come quicker than you know it.
I mean, then I'm gonna have to up the goal to 1 billion.
Yeah, exactly. Or a trillion.
Why not?
Why not? Right? That's what we're doing. So if you guys have any questions for Vic, you can find him on Instagram. You can find him anywhere, like I will put all these things in the link in my bio. Reach out to him. Like, do not be afraid. I know I say this every single episode. Do not be afraid to reach out to me. I know some of you have more so than you have been lately. And I think that's truly amazing. I'm so appreciative of you, but reach out to us. Like, we are here for you. And Vic is very, very powerful and he's an expert at what he does. And like when you're around him, you guys, like, and I was kind of far away, I felt his energy. and to be around people that I'm serious or that have energy that is makes you connected instantly. That's what you want around you. So, write down the information that I have in the link below. And when this episode obviously airs, it will also be in all my posts. So don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to love yourself. And, we're here for you.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. So I really appreciate you. I think this was a beautiful conversation and I can't wait to have more.
Oh, absolutely. Bring them on.
Yes, let's bring it on, you guys. All right. Have a good Monday, you guys. I love you and take care. Bye.